So for those of you, so I'm Steve Praeter, Julio Cortez. We're gonna, as Nicole said, she gave us the best challenge ever to do the whole thing in 25 minutes. So that's what we're gonna try and do. So hopefully you'll see us build a project using our builder tool, if anyone's familiar with that. Then we're gonna use our Atrius Facilities organized module and actually try and dump this into a controller, which I got sitting in the back corner over there, all within that time.
So as you heard, my name's Julio Cortez. I'm going to be showing you the piece of Builder. This is part of the engineering piece, and what we're trying to do is facilitate a way for all of our engineers to be able to eliminate redundancy in their projects, okay? So what Builder is a software in the cloud. So it's a cloud-based solution that will allow you to use our devices and use pre-engineer sequence of operation, GFX, which is our programming tool, or you can use your own stuff. You actually have access to this website, and you can actually have your own login, and your technicians, your engineers can actually work with their own code and their own sequence of operation, okay? So in this example, we're gonna use the ECY 450. And the ECY 450 is actually sitting over there because we didn't have a connection for it over here. And what I want to do is this is going to be a small air handling unit, and I can go through all of the variables and options that you need for the process in here. So I'm going to just pick some things that I think would go on a small device. I came from an engineering background. I worked for ESD in the past, and you know, one of the biggest things that we had to deal with is a lot of redundancy and having to manage drawings that you, whether you like it or not, is copy and paste, right? So we're getting rid of that by using Builder. And what we're doing is we're establishing a way for you to centralize all of your programming, all of your drawings, and the ability to do it with efficiency so that you can just add the finishing touches to it, to the drawings if you need to. This may be enough for you. It may not be, depending on the job site. Automatic, manual switch, freezing alarm. I live in the Chicago area, so this is always an issue. So I love this piece of it. I wanted to bring you here because this read from terminal units only is a way for us to take advantage of the BACnet protocol and be able to share data across with COB subscriptions to the devices. So we're trying to make the most out of the device and make sure that we're actually getting the information that we need without having to put burden on the device, right? So rather than us pulling a point from a VAV, we want to have that VAV send us the information. So we're trying to take advantage or make the most out of the protocol. Okay, so once I've made my choices for the configuration, I can change the name here. Hit apply. But this is also the really neat piece. And this is where I think, are there any engineers here that do all the mechanical drawings? Raise your hand. Okay, we got a couple here. So this will do your AutoCAD drawings based on your decisions. It'll create PDFs if you like. You can change the settings in here to represent your company, the name of the engineer. You also can use Visio drawings, and again, we give you the option to use whatever you like in that area. Here's the neat part, is we're also building the graphics. And you can decide if you want to use our older generation. We want to still continue to support our older generation, our facilities, or if you're using ECNet, which is your JACE, or ECBOS, and you would just put the path of the device here. Right now we're going to use an Eclypse Facilities device. We're going to go ahead and press compile. That does say compile, right? Yeah. All right. Should have put on the glasses. That was an opening for you to say something.
Yeah.
You know, Are you just going to stand there and watch, or are you going to help out?
I actually forgot something in my bag, so.
Oh, okay. This is great. Yeah, it's rough. I'm doing all the work. All right, so this is your air handling unit. It automatically has the points. It's going to be based on your program, hardware inputs, hardware outputs. I'm going to wait for it to time, and this is important because what you guys are seeing right now is what the technician or the engineer may run into if they decide to do it at the site, right? So that's our goal today, is to show you this. All right, so now I can go to drawings. There's my PDF drawings. In points, anything that is blue can be changed. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to show you the Visio drawing as it gets created. There's a find and replace section here where if you have a specific name or you want to add something to the actual names, you can do that for the entire drawing. For BACnet objects, what we're referring to is our analog values, binary values. If you want to make some changes on these, you can. We have what's called the sequence of operation that we never copy and paste ever when you're an engineering firm. And we also have your testing procedure. And this is great because as you get the technician to go through this, you basically give them this PDF and they can follow this and it matches exactly what we did, okay? The advantage of that is you are now controlling from one location is your programming, right? Because we don't want technicians to go to job sites and create a whole new program, right? If it matches this testing procedure, we know we're using the same programs all the time. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and download the controller.
What are you downloading? What are you downloading? Because you're not really downloading the controller, right? So what are you downloading?
Well, I think it's a file.
Okay. And its collateral will be?
Well, the file should have stuff in it. You know, it's magic.
It's hard to imagine he's only been with us about 8 months, and yet this is our daily routine. We argue all the time.
Yeah, he's always reminding me what I'm supposed to be saying. But good point. I was going to actually show it once it's downloaded, but what we get is a zip file, and the zip file contains the drawings, the Visio drawings, your GFX program, an Excel sheet that is created based off of the GFX program. That can actually be edited so that you can actually grab those tables and put them in your Visio drawings. Pretty cool. All right, so that was the zip file. Are you happy?
Yes.
All right. So now if we go to Visio, I'm going to open up a blank drawing, and this is pretty cool stuff. You have something called Distech Builder. It's a Visio add-on. Are you guys ready for some magic? Are you going to say, wow? Not yet. Not yet. Wait till the trick is done here. Come on. All right, here we go. Who's ready? Ready. All right. Is Nicole allowed to participate? I sure am. Oh, jeez. All right, so here we go. So, as you can see, it's actually looking at your choices from the main page, and it's going through all of that to create your drawing. So it starts with a universal template, if you want to call it that, and then it's going to narrow it down to your choices, okay? Who said that? That was good. See, he said, wow. Now you can say it. There you go. See? I knew you could do it. So anyway, if you're doing a VAV, this takes maybe 3 minutes, the whole process, depending on your choices. And if you decided to use your own code, you may be adding a little bit of time, but it's fantastic because one, you're telling the technicians what you want to use. When they go to troubleshoot it, they know what to expect. It's not a surprise. And you're maintaining the quality of your programs, right? One place. Not everybody, you shouldn't have everyone with their own versions of a VAV. All right, so it's done. I can close this. Then it comes back and it tells me that there's a compilation here. And it'll tell me if there's any errors. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And here's my sequence of operation. Here is a little more detail on the sequence of operation and points that were built. Okay. And then if I go to here, here's my drawing. And I believe I changed the discharge air temp. You see the DAT there? I can see it with my glasses. I don't know if you guys can. Can you see it? All right. And I believe I changed the return air temp. There's my rad right there. Tell me that's not cool, huh? Wow. So here's some more stuff, right? In page 4, we got another point in there, right, for the manual switch. And we get our list of components here. Okay, your BOM. Does this save you time? Yeah, and imagine if you do it in a way that you can actually control what's actually being done there. So I'm going to go ahead and close this, and we have a way for you to provide us with feedback, and we also give you updates on what's going on in the world of Builder. Okay? If we have any announcements, you go here, and we tell you what we've been doing, and we're always making improvements based on feedback, so we listen to our customers. And another thing that I like to show people, and this is where I really show I don't know what I'm doing, is you can actually do your own stuff in here. Look at this. I can actually come in here and start uploading all of my files and create my own interface for my people. So the engineer, what they have to do is they have to create all of this, and once they have that file, what they do is they go to what we call Atrius Organize, Atrius Facilities Organize. And what they do in there, so this is all in the office right now, right? I'm going to create a new site. We're going to call it, I was going to call it Julio's Universe, but I don't think Nicole would approve of that. So anyway, we'll go with that, right? And let's see. Wait. Oh, sorry. Add site. Let's go here. I clicked on the wrong one. That's why it was not blue. Oop. I gave you one there. You could have taken off on that one. He's always picking on me. All right, so then what's really neat about this, I can start setting up my site. So I'm going to just call it main building. All right, I'm going to go ahead and save that. Square footage, if you know it. I don't. This is an imaginary place. And we'll call it conference. Right, level. We enter a number, right, because we're going to do multiple floors, right? Okay, total area, save that. Then I'm going to go to conference, right? And I'm going to go to devices, and I can actually add them here. I have the option to, add them here too with the ellipse button, but I like this one. And then I'm going to select a 450. Now this is a building that has multiple floors, so I'm obviously not going to just create one. I'm going to go with this. The starting name, and I'm going to put, let's say 10 floors. It's not a huge building. Okay, the enter host ID piece can be done now if you're ready to bring in the device, but this is not real world. I'm the engineer, right? I'm in the office. I don't have the device yet. I'm waiting for the technician or the electrician to scan it with our Atrius Facilities software or app and create that. So now I'm going to create 10 devices. I'm going to click on all of them, and I'm going to configure them. And I'm not going to do a ton, but I am going to upload that AHU1 zip file. Oh, I messed up again.
You made it too big.
I made a mistake. What did I do? All right, so what did I do? Well, I actually loaded the entire library when I made my selection. So I'm going to go back.
Yeah, we found this out not too long ago, so this hopefully will be fixed in the near future.
Yeah, it will be.
The 30 megabyte file limit, I don't know why we chose arbitrarily to pick that number, but you know, inside a Builder, and Julio will show you, he goes back through it real quick.
Yep.
But if anyone's familiar with our Designer or Envision graphics, as they've been known in the past, right? So you can get the entire library as part of this builder package. And by default, we check that. So when you do that, you get a rather large zip file.
Okay, I'm going to continue now. Put all of that in there. And I'm going to leave it as AHU, and it's going to come up as AHU2 now because it's on my downloads. And the reason why we wanted to show you this is because you don't actually need the library. That's only when you're going to edit. So if you're happy with our setup, you can go ahead and use this. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and download the controller. You see how quickly that did it, right? Because now I don't have the library. Now I'm going to go in here again, and this time I'm going to get it right. And we're going to go to Files. AHU4 it says there. I was wrong. I'm going to go ahead and upload. That is all of my programming and my graphics for all of my rooftops. I'm going to go ahead and enter the ID. So 36401. I'm going to save that. That's going to automatically set all of the devices. We can do the IP addressing, but at this time, I'm not going to do that. And now I'm going to go to, we're in Detroit. And I'm going to go ahead and save that. Okay? Once it tells me it's done, I've completed my piece, and I hand it off to Mr. What's your name again?
You're not that old.
Yeah.
He's older than I am, though, unfortunately. That's
All right.
pretty great.
Here we go.
So this would be the trade-off, right? So if Julio was the engineer in the office, and we're moving fast, and it's kind of a fire hose, we get that, but we kind of wanted to show it from end to end. But right, the engineer uses something like Builder, whether it's your own organization, Distech's organization, and maybe it's not even Builder, maybe it's just creating the GFX file and uploading that inside of here. But what we're doing is inside of Facilities is making that digital twin for Facilities Organize. Has anyone by chance messed with the Facilities Organize yet since it's been released? A couple of you? Okay, so everybody else, it's all new.
I don't think it made this sound when you were over here.
It didn't. All right, so I'm going to kind of pick up where Julio left off, if you will, in the workflow, right? So if you think about it, this could have been done hours before, months before, right? It could have been done at the time of submittals, or maybe just after awarding the job. And now, construction's underway, right? The project's moving. You have electricians installing controllers and things of that nature. So really what we're going to talk about with Atrius Facilities Organize, which is really our cloud piece. So if anyone is familiar with Distech, you know we went through a few name changes in the past year or so, right? It's kind of hard to keep track of everything. So now everything refers to either Eclypse Facilities or Atrius Facilities or even Ecnet Facilities. So those are kind of the three products. Eclypse is all things controller-based for our IP devices. Atrius is our cloud infrastructure, if you will, and then there's different modules or groups of that. And then, of course, we have Ecnet, which is our version of Niagara, Tritium, and then for some reason, we didn't want to just call it Ecnet anymore. We wanted to call it Ecnet Facilities. Nothing's changed. It's just a marketing play. But that's kind of the overlay, if you will, and that's kind of what we're showing here with this slide real quick. But what we're going to do is pick up where Julio left off. So if I go into my web browser, and I just opened email. You don't want to see all those people yelling at me.
It's hard to soar like an eagle.
It is? It is. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to log into Atrius Facilities, and I have access to the same organization as Julio does, right? You can have more than one organization or customer base, if you will, if you wanted to. But I'm going to log into Julio's, and I kind of had a shortcut. Otherwise, you could come out here and see the entire list of customers that are part of this organization, but we're using Julio's demo. So I could go in here, and now I can see all the work that he did, right? He built ControlsCon, he told me about that. And then there's devices. So we know there's all these 10 devices out here, And if we go look at one of them, and we can look at the configuration that Julio uploaded, right? So we can see that there's a GFX file. We can see that he did add in an IP or a BACnet ID. And if we look at the other ones, as he mentioned, it auto increments by 1, right? So everything got its own unique BACnet ID. We could do the same thing with IP addresses if we wanted to statically define IP or set up the network and anything of that nature. But for our demo, we're just going to leave everything as DHCP. Even if we wanted to change what was bridged or the different IP subnets, right? We have control to do that. So now we have all this information up here, and it's now how do I associate this with a device, right? So if all this works, and this is where live demos are fun, I should have a Teams meeting on here so you can see my phone as we do this.
Is this a wow moment?
Not yet.
Not yet?
Yeah, this is not wow. Everyone knows Teams and hates it, right? So, all right, so what I'm going to do is actually, like I mentioned, we have a controller back here that's actually live. It's connected out to the internet. And as long as our network connections have stayed, it should work. So we're going to try and do a live demo here real quick. And if you'll notice, I'm going to open up my Atrius Facilities app. So this is in the App Store, whether it's Google or Apple, it's in both. And it's going to let me log into the same organization. So you can see, I see Julio's demo. And if you just watch the screen, I'm going to kind of walk back here and go scan this controller. So we don't have any smoke and mirrors at the moment. We are trying to do it all real time.
We practiced this walk. It was supposed to be faster.
So then we can pick one of these units. So I have a controller back here. Try not to get feedback in that mic or that speaker. But let's pick air handler number 3. So I'm going to pair it. I'm going to scan it. So I have to allow access to my camera. And you can see, right, here's my controller. And all our IP devices have this QR code on them, if it'll work. And if not, hopefully the backup works. There we go. So it gave me a host ID, it gave me a MAC address of my controller, and now it's asking me, do I want to pair that with AHU3? So I can say yes, pair it. And it gives me a little thing that says, yeah, it could take up to 10 minutes for the pairing to actually be fully onboarded. You don't have 10 minutes. I know. But hopefully it doesn't take that long. So I'm going to say done. So that would be, I'm done now, right? But if you had your electrician in the field, right, they could do that through VAVs, or a tech could run out real quick and do them all. But if anyone's used our Express Network Companion app, it's very similar functionality. So now that that's done, I should be able to come into this interface.
I'd have to.
And we do AHU3? So you'll see down here now I have a host ID associated with it. So this is the controller's information. The controller, we've already made that association. And then we'll see how long this takes. No, it's not testing it yet.
Yeah, sometimes if you click on it, you might.
It might force it. Mm-hmm. There we go. Device has been onboarded. Let's test it real quick.
And that's because Nicole didn't give us more time.
That's right.
But
we got 5 more minutes than we thought,
finished,
so that's good.
We finished with time for FAQ, so.
Yeah, there it goes. Now it's onboarded. So now we can see testing it. It'll actually communicate. So I'm actually communicating to that controller from the Wi-Fi here up through the cloud back down to it. Now the other thing we can do is I can log into the web interface of that device. I can launch GFX and I can actually program that device all remotely with a secure reverse proxy setup, right? Zero trust type setup between the device and myself. I need no ports. I need no firewall pins in a customer's network. The only thing I need to have is my controller needs to have an outbound 443 access, right? So if the controller can get to the internet on port 443, I can now touch that controller no matter where it is or no matter where I am in the world, essentially.
Yeah, but we're basically using our API with TLS, so.
Yep, it's all encrypted. And then if it launches, it launches. But that's kind of the end. Oh, it's not really the end. I lied. Sorry. But if we go to configuration, this is what we were wanting to show you to bring all this back to the same thing. Time and date, Julio did change the time zone, right? So I can send this to the device. So if I send that to the device, and we scroll back to the top, it'll show me that it's sending one to the device. But I could do the same thing with the GFX file. I don't know if we don't really have time or bandwidth probably to do that today.
It automatically did it, and it's been completed. That's why the onboarding takes longer, because it's actually downloading what you wanted to download from the get-go.
We don't have that option yet. It's coming though.
It's completed.
Oh, yeah, no, it failed.
The GFX.
Yeah, but it's not in the controller, not sent.
I thought it was.
It's hard when you got to teach employees how to use your own tools. Just saying.
Are you sure?
But this is the idea, right? So hopefully my live demo, of course, is probably going to take longer. We don't have that time, but that would be the workflow, the understanding, right? In the future, we'll have an option where you could automatically check. So as soon as that controller makes contact with the Atrius cloud, it will automatically provision itself. So whatever would be set here, you could tell it to automatically download and commission that, right? So it even takes one more step out and automates the entire process. So that's kind of it in a nutshell.
Come on, that was cool, wasn't it?
Is it halfway impressive? Woo-hoo! The other thing to remember before we go, right? So this part of Atrius Organized is what we call this. Every IP or every Eclypse controller sold, right? This is free for 2 years, right? So you guys can use this. It doesn't cost you anything to use this or try it out with your devices if you're doing a new installation somewhere with our IP devices. And then, of course, we have other stuff planned for the future, like Operate and things of that nature. So you'll have BMS in the cloud, and then also, you know, AI optimizations and things of that nature.
They already clapped. It's over.
All right.
All right, how about we get into some questions?
Oh, man. Is it a hard one?
I hope so.
Oh, no.
Just kidding. So this whole setup here is really, I think it's super cool, but in a situation where maybe a customer doesn't want you to have a connection like that, and you just want to use this for initial setup, is that a use case you guys would do?
Yeah, so if a customer wasn't going to give you that outbound access, right, you could, on startup of commissioning, right, the network is never ready to go. So like I have a router back there, a little portable cell router, but I have no signal. So we kind of made some other assessments for it. So something like that would work, right, for a tech on site for a period of time. That's a battle I think we got to fight is moving forward just as an industry as a whole, because as things get more and more IoT focused, right, that network in a building is going to have to be done sooner rather than at the end of a job.
Sure.
Some of our partners will carry Praeter, or what's it called?
A router?
Yeah, no, but I was thinking of the brand. But anyway, they'll put a router with the wireless access, and then they'll daisy chain the devices. So but it's a temporary network. That's why I was saying sometimes setting up the IP up front is not the best way to go because you don't have the final information from IT.
No, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping your answer would be.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
No questions? I'm married.
You guys are getting lucky today. I don't know. They're being really nice.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It's either we
I don't
answered all
know.
the questions or they didn't want to see
I
this,
don't
one or the
know.
other.
But there's plenty of time during lunch and booths in the next couple of days. Thank you guys so much. You did a great job and
Thank
you
you.
stayed within your time.